So before we begin today, there's a couple of adjustments I need to make on my little roadmap here. First of all, the placements of Mario Land and Mario 3. As you may have noticed, I'm opting to play through all of these games in the order that they released in. However, what I failed to account for is that I've been going by the Japanese release dates instead of the US releases. In Japan, Mario 3 came out before Mario Land, but as it turns out, Mario Land came out here in the US before Mario 3. So, those two need to switch places. Sorry for anyone who was looking forward to Mario 3, but you'll have to wait a bit longer on that one. Secondly, I also came to the realization after I made this map that Super Mario Land 2 doesn't actually have a proper scoring system, so that's not really going to work for this challenge. However, there is another game we can put in its place that does fit the challenge. Yeah, as it turns out, Super Mario Advance gives us a way to play Mario 2 and play for score. So I hope you'll be looking forward to that. So with all that out of the way, on with the show! Hey folks, it's The Red, coming to you with another Mario Day special. And once again, we are continuing with the Worst Player Ever Challenge. I'm thinking about doing more of these videos outside of Mario Day so I can free up future Mario Day videos for some other stuff. Let me know in the comments if that's something you think I should do. But anyway, let's turn our focus to the next game we are covering, Super Mario Land, released in 1989 for the Game Boy. Ah yes, I've spent many a road trip with this game. Still, this was kind of a weird one in the series. All it takes is a few seconds with this game to realize that something's not quite right with how this plays. Momentum doesn't seem to be a thing, controls are kind of wonky, hit detection is pretty hit and miss, and it just overall feels a bit unpolished, especially by Mario standards. The graphics are also really tiny, you almost need a magnifying glass to see what's going on if you play on original hardware. Still, I can look past all this because it was one of Mario's earliest games, and today we are going to become the worst player ever at it. Just like in the other games we've played, our goal is to play through the whole game while accumulating the lowest score we possibly can, by avoiding anything that gives us points, such as power-ups, coins, and defeating enemies. And for those of you who've been annoyed by me skipping worlds, you'll be happy to know that there are no warp zones in this game, so you're going to see me playing every level in the game. All 12 of them. So, what do you say we get this party started? We hit start and are immediately thrown into the beginning of 1-1 as expected, taking place in the Muta Kingdom. Much like other first levels in Mario games, this one presents no real problem spots for this challenge, so we can more or less just take this time to get accustomed to our weird new controls. There's a couple of jumping rats later in the level that you could accidentally bounce off of if you don't jump high enough, but there's plenty of space to work with, so they're not too troublesome. Other than that, just steer clear of the coins at the final stairway and you're at the end of the stage. Now, the goal here is a bit different. We could just walk through the lower door to end the stage, or we could try to go to the upper door for a chance to play a bonus game. More on that in a moment. This time around, we can't wait for 0 seconds before ending the stage, because the moment the timer hits 0, Mario dies. This is going to be the case with every game going forward, so from now on we need to end the stage with 1 second left on the timer to ensure the lowest possible time bonus, which in this game will be 10 points. Not bad. Now, about that bonus. We have a chance to earn extra lives or a Super Ball flower. This will be nifty to keep in mind because here we can get one without adding to our score. So if we need to become big in an upcoming stage for some reason, we can get it here. That said, going into 1-2, we don't really want to be big because that's going to make it very difficult to get around these coins at the beginning. Yeah, let's stick with small size for now. It'll make dodging the pesky coins like these a little easier. There's a few tight jumps here and there that require better timing, as well as some bees to keep an eye on, but still overall not too much to worry about. There's a few strategic jumps you'll have to make to avoid coins here and there, but probably the hardest jump out of this whole level comes towards the very end. A row of coins right in the middle of our jumping path. Technically, you can jump over these coins, but it's really close if you do so. There is a low jumping option, but to get the perfect height so that you can clear the gap without touching the coins, you have to basically just scratch the jump button for 1 frame. Like, really quickly, because if it stays held down too long, you'll touch the coins. By scratching the jump button, you'll do a 1-block high jump that lets you go under the coins, and then you're just a few jumps away from the goal. Excellent! 1-3 is up next, and right at the beginning is a hidden block containing a rising platform of some kind that pushes you through the ceiling and onto the roof of the level. This might seem like it'll make things easier, but trust me, you're not doing yourself any favors going up there. Best just stick to the normal path. It's not that hard anyway. Just a few piranha plants to jump over, and wow, did you see that hit detection? I just went right through it! This game, I swear. Watch out for falling bricks, and this enemy here, called Gao. It shoots fireballs at you similar to the fireball-spitting piranha plants in Mario 3. Eventually you'll reach this crossroads with 3 possible paths you could take. The top path is blocked by bricks, so we'd have to be big to break through that. The lower path leads to a room with tons of coins in it. Yeah, that's out. That just leaves the middle path, which has 3 coins in it for 300 points. Honestly, none of these are sounding like particularly great options. But then I noticed something. Some spaces along the wall here. I wondered if we could possibly jump up there and avoid all of these paths. It took several tries to get it right due to Mario's weird jumping physics in this game, but we were eventually able to make it inside the lowest gap. From here we could do a jump up to the next gap, and then again onto the roof. Trust me when I say this was really difficult to pull off due to how quickly Mario takes off with his running speed. So from here we could just continue to the right unopposed. There's just a couple of Gaos at the bottom, nothing too difficult even if we were on that path. And that leads us to the boss, King Totomesu. Basically a discount Bowser with a much easier attack pattern to avoid. Since he can't reach us from here, we can basically just wait him out until the time runs out and then walk to the edge of the screen. This will count as us stepping on that kill switch and defeating the boss. Hey, I'm not going to question it. Nor am I going to question how Mario went from the roof to inside this room during that transition. It was, magic? Speaking of magic, Princess Daisy here turns into a rat and jumps away. We know the drill at this point. The princess is in another castle, go look somewhere else. Next, we arrive in 2-1 in the Muta Kingdom by UFO? Is Mario an alien all of a sudden? Well, questionable arrival aside, this area is pretty fun, and is home to one of my favorite music tracks in the game. The main thing to watch out for here will be these bonefish-like enemies called Honin. They can spring out of the water rather suddenly and force 100 points on us if we happen to be under them when they jump. There's also Wraparound Glitch that can shoot fireballs at us, so they can be a bit troublesome at spots too. But the biggest problem will be along this bridge at about the halfway point of the stage. Like in 1-2, we'll have to do another one of those scratch jumps to get underneath the coins and reach the next part of the bridge, being mindful of the Honins and Bombshell Koopa in the area. And just after that is another of those jumps. This time the gap is wider, so this one will require us to have to do a running jump. Having to hold the B button while doing the A button scratch makes this a bit difficult, but doable. Just make sure you don't overshoot the platform and then accidentally stomp an enemy on the other side. Towards the end of the level, we just have a couple more fish to get around and a couple more jumps to the goal. Some tricky bits here and there, but we can manage. 2-2 is next, and we are immediately greeted by a new enemy, Mechabon. It shoots its head out in a circular pattern every now and then. Just make sure you're not trying to jump over it when it does, and it should be no problem. We have a few inconvenient enemies around this pipe. Now, we could do a few quick jumps to avoid them all, or you can just go down this pipe here, avoid all the coins in it, exit, and everyone will be gone when you emerge. What, did they just give up when he went down the pipe? What a bunch of quitters. Up ahead is a secret path underneath this section with an invisible floor that only small Mario can go under. Though it doesn't really do any good since it just leads to a bunch of coins. Looks like we're gonna have to go for the upper path, but it's not too difficult if you just keep moving. A couple more enemies here and there, a few big jumps to make, and we can reach the end without much issue. 2-3 takes place underwater, and we get to pilot Mario's submarine, the Marine Pop. This certainly is a unique twist to the way we normally conduct water levels. The Marine Pop can shoot torpedoes with the A button, but of course, we can't really shoot enemies or bricks since that will add to our score. So just move around to avoid all the enemies and coins. It's not too bad at first, a walk in the park compared to how water levels normally go, but eventually you'll come to this part with Mario's name spelled out with coins. And at the end of the O is a wall of bricks with a gap right where the coins are lined up. Mario's hitbox is unfortunately too big for us to get lined up with the gap without touching a coin or two. So we're gonna have to take our first non-goal points here. Coins in this game are worth 100 points each, but breaking a brick block is only worth 50. So by knocking out this corner brick here, we can just barely have enough clearance to get underneath the coins and continue. The rest of the level isn't bad until we get to the boss, Dragon Zamasu. Avoiding its attacks isn't too difficult, but as you can see, we have to break more bricks to reach the kill switch. I thought I could just take out 2 bricks and move up since I was small, but no, we have to take out the whole row of bricks to be able to fit. Ugh. So that's going to be an extra 200 points added to our usual 10 points at the end of the level. Well, that stinks, but it was kind of inevitable. Hey look, it's Daisy. Just kidding, it's an octopus. Gunyan to be exact. Go away, Gunyan. Welcome to World 3-1, taking place in the Eastern Kingdom. Between the Easter Island heads in the background and the tiki masks with wings, I must say the theming of this game is pretty crazy. I like it. More Mario games need to do things like this. For the most part, this level isn't too troublesome. It's mainly just avoiding enemies here and there, with an occasional tough jump or two. There is, however, another trouble spot here. This jump right here, with 3 vertically placed coins. You'd think with the space in between them, you could possibly jump through them, or under them, but no. The hit detection makes it so we can't avoid these. No matter how close to the edge of this platform I get, I can't jump away from it without touching the coin. This really stinks. I feel like there should be some way to avoid them. But every attempt, every strategy I've tried to come up with, it just doesn't work. The collision detection with coins is too great. It's weird because with all the bad hit detection we've encountered so far, you'd think we could use that to avoid a couple of coins. But alas, after many, many attempts, I have to declare that there's no way past these without taking points. We'll just have to bite the bullet and grab 1 coin to continue. And you want to know what the worst part is? They do it to us again later! Ugh, another 100 points added. But you know what's even worse? They do it to us a 3rd time! This game is so cruel. There's an invisible block here, but it's too far away to let us jump over them. After that 3rd set, we just have a few more enemies to get around, and then we ride some boulders across a line of spikes to the goal. 3 coins we had to take in that level for 300 points, plus 10 for the time bonus. What a bummer. Let's hope 3-2 is kinder to us. Well, I hope you don't have arachnophobia, because this place is home to a couple of spider enemies. Kumo, which jumps at you like flies from 1-1, and Sue, which drops down to you like a thwomp. There will be a few moments where you'll have to carefully consider how best to get past them. But probably the bigger issue will be these platforms lined with coins just above them. As we've already established in the previous level, there's not enough headroom to jump past these coins. But with no way to get around them, it's looking like we might have to take another coin. But not so fast. Early in the level, there's an invisible block right here, which thankfully doesn't yield a coin itself, and we can use it to reach the roof of the stage. Here we just have to do a jump over some coins, and then we need to do a couple of big jumps to land on the next platform to keep ourselves on the roof. Doing this, we can avoid the otherwise unavoidable coins below. It's kind of lame that we have to resort to basically skipping over sections of the stage to do this, but it is done in the name of becoming the worst, so I think it's justified. Besides, there's a second platform in this stage with that exact same coin setup. I think we've dealt with enough of that in the last level. After that second platform, though, we can come down to the regular path, dodge a couple of spiders, and then it's more rock riding on our way to the goal. Careful on these falling platforms if you're trying to get to the bonus. Whew! We finally managed to not add to our score besides the time bonus. 3-3 is up next, and right away we have a trouble spot. We have to ride some scrolling platforms over a bombless pit, and the area to ride them is littered with coins. Avoiding them while staying on the platform will be no easy task, especially since we have to jump for the next platform at just the right time. It seems like there's not enough room to actually make it over the coins and still land on the platform at the other end. But we could make it over the coins with a running jump. So my plan here is to scroll the camera over enough to make the next platform appear, then wait for them to line up in an agreeable pattern. Once that happens, I need to do an exacting jump off the platform once it gets into position. If this jump is even slightly off, I risk touching either the coin directly overhead or the one at the end of the line that I'm trying to jump over. It's not an easy jump to make, but eventually I did land in that sweet spot. Huzzah! The rest of the level after that part isn't much of an issue. Just a few enemies to avoid, more platforms to jump on, pretty simple stuff compared to what we've been doing up to this point. Once we encounter these boulders, it means the boss is coming up. This is Hoi. He's the one who's been chucking rocks at us. But as long as we stand in this spot right here, he can't hit us, so we'll just hang out here until the time runs out and hit the kill switch for a time bonus of 10. This world definitely had its share of tough spots for our challenges, but we've got one more to go. Oh hey, it's totally Daisy this time. Nope, she's a spider too! World 4-1 takes us into the Chai Kingdom. The Chinese vibe here is real. Our main threat in these levels will be the Piampi enemies. They're zombie-like creatures that jump around and, like dry bones, can get back up after you've stomped them. Not that we want to do that anyway, since they're worth 800 points. Enemy placements are going to be one of the biggest hurdles to overcome in this level, especially here where we have to navigate a bunch of tightly placed pipes with piranha plants sticking out of each one. And sometimes a Goombo will be thrown into the mix to make things tougher. Just be careful about how you approach this area and you should be alright. This part here got a little uncomfortable, but some fancy footwork saw me through. They also wind up throwing out 3 of these Piampois at one point in the stage, but I was able to just wait for a good moment to get past them, and shortly before the end of the stage, is another one of those coin setups like from 3-1, and once again, no way to get around them. Oh, this game is so mean! Another 100 points added to our 10 points at the end of the stage as we make our way into 4-2. Going into this level, I've opted to take a Super Ball Flower. We're gonna need it for this level. We have a few more new enemy types here, including the Pompon Flower and the Niloin Snakes, which operate just like the Gaos from 1-3. There's a few big jumps that need to be made to clear these gaps early in the stage. Just be careful about when you jump across, and there shouldn't be too much of an issue. After that comes a split in the path. Technically, we could access the upper path if we were willing to break the bricks, but we can get through the lower path without adding to our score, so there's no need. Just some more enemies in tight quarters, but perfectly manageable. Eventually, the setting will change slightly, and we find ourselves going through some sort of a castle setting, with these rotating discs that remind me of the ones from Mario 3. Except with a smaller area of rotation. There's going to be quite a few of them as well, so do your best to dodge around them. There's even a few scrolling platform jumps like the ones in World 2, except with less headroom. Eventually we come to this part, a platform up above with a Niloin on it, and 2 coins above it. My original plan was to run into the Niloin and damage boost through it, but I ran into a problem. If you jump on this platform at all, it will register you as having jumped on the Niloin for 800 points. I can't just run off the edge of the platform either, because then I won't reach the next one. Just like the previous areas where we tried to jump on the edge of a platform, it's just not going to work here. So instead of going through the snake, I've got to go over it. 200 points in coins is a better deal than 800 on the Niloin. Now we've got to carefully jump over the Bombshell Koopa while avoiding more of the rotating discs. And eventually we come to another of those platforms, except this time there's a Bombshell Koopa on it, and another Niloin on the ground in front of it. Here is where the damage boosting can be used. I carefully jump up, but not so high that I accidentally stomp the Koopa, take the hit, and quickly jump across and through the second Bombshell Koopa before the invincibility frames wear off. Hey, at least we were able to make use of that power-up somewhere in this stage. The rest of the level is not an issue, just ride up this platform and the goal is just over the wall. 200 coin points on top of our 10-point time bonus. They sure like putting us in positions where we can't avoid coins, don't they? But not to worry, the end is in sight. Let's go on to 4-3, the final level in the game. And it's another gimmick stage. This time we are flying through the sky in the Sky Pop, dodging these chicken enemies and the Rokatons. The chickens are simple enough to avoid, because they will avoid you. As long as you don't go up or down as they approach you, you'll be fine. Rotacons, on the other hand, are a bit more annoying. They'll try to fire at you and try and fly into you. Just try and keep your vertical distance from them. There's some coins and bricks around, but not such in the way that makes it dodging impossible. But on that note, we come to about the halfway point of the stage, and holy shnikey! When did this game become New Super Mario Bros. 2? This room is completely filled with coins, and there's no way around it. Good lord, this is going to hurt. So, examining the way the coins are lined up, I've determined that best case scenario, we can come out of this collecting a minimum of 11 coins and shooting 1 brick. What is this game's obsession with forcing points on us? Ugh. After a few more walls to navigate around, we're forced to break another brick to proceed, dodge a couple more of those rotating discs, and lo and behold, more coins in our way. This just keeps getting better and better. Normally 4 coins would have to be picked up here to move on, but luckily I did find something of a strategy for these coins. Right as Mario is about to be scrolled off screen, I then start moving up, and the upper left coin will be scrolled off screen before I get high enough to collect it. Though we do have to break another brick here right before the boss. And speaking of the boss, meet Biokinton. Literally just a cloud. There's no kill switch this time, so we have to defeat him by shooting him with bullets. The problem is, it's constantly spawning chickens that fly towards us. And the chickens only take 1 shot to defeat, and they're worth 400 points each. So what we need to do is be really careful about when we shoot at Biokinton. The best time to shoot at it is when it's moving away from Mario. At that time, I try not to aim for where it is, but rather where it's going to be so as not to risk hitting a chicken by mistake. It has 20 hit points, so it takes a little time, but with some cautious play, I was able to get it down without hitting any chickens. That's worth 5,000 points that we can't really do anything about, but here we go. It's time for the final boss of the game, Tatanga. You can get a few quick shots in at the beginning while there isn't much to avoid, but then back off quickly. This part of the fight also features projectiles being fired at you, which you can counterattack by shooting them yourself, but they take more hits than the chickens do, so they're not as bad. What I do here is shoot bullets in a wave so that they're not all going in the same direction. If you do that, you risk destroying one of his shots, which will give you 100 points. It also gives you more area to try and hit Tatanga, who tends to move pretty sporadically during the fight. Just dodge his shots, carefully shoot him back, and after 25 shots, Tatanga goes down for another 5,000 points, and you've beaten the game. No need to worry about the time for this stage, because no time bonus will be calculated for this stage. So there you go, we've rescued Princess Daisy and fly away in a spaceship to the tune of one of my favorite ending themes in any Mario game. Fantastic. And so we finished the game with a total score of 12,460 points. But can we really call that the worst ever? No, we can't. For you see, there exists another version of Super Mario Land with a little gameplay oversight that will make all the difference. See, we just got done playing through the revised version of the game, which featured some key changes over the original release. And one of the things that was changed was that some of the music tracks in the game were given more percussion, such as when Mario loses a life. Listen. They also did this with the goal theme. However, there was a much bigger issue in the original release that was addressed in the re-release, namely the Wraparound Glitch. In the Marine Pop and Sky Pop levels, it was possible to get scrolled off the screen and wind up on the other side if you were holding the left button at the time you get scrolled off. It's similar to how it works in something like Pac-Man, where when you go off one side of the screen, you wind up at the opposite end. A lot of old arcade games made use of screen wrapping like this, except there it wasn't a glitch. The games were designed around it. I have no idea why this mechanic exists in Super Mario Land specifically. Maybe they were planning on implementing that during the development of the game but forgot to take it out. Either way, this will be a key function to help us avoid some points in 2-3 and 4-3. Most of this game can be played out the same way as before, so let's just focus on the parts that added to our score. In 2-3, we can use the Wraparound Glitch to avoid having to break this brick after the Mario coins. Though we can't use it again to avoid the bricks at the end of the stage where Dragon Zamasu is. We just wind up on the other side of the gate where we can't reach the kill switch. We're basically stuck here until time runs out. So yeah, we still have to break those bricks, but at least we saved 50 points. But you know where the biggest savings are going to come from. That's right, 4-3. We can use this glitch to avoid that nasty coin room altogether. This is going to be huge. We can also use the glitch to avoid the bricks and the other set of coins, so that the only points we have to take are the 10,000 points at the end for beating each boss. So that brings our new total score to 10,860 points. With that, we can now truly call ourselves the worst player ever. The only interactions we had to make with the stages besides the time bonuses and defeated bosses was to collect 6 coins and break 3 bricks. Not bad, all things considered. But with that, we bring another game to a close. Thank you very much for watching, and have yourselves a happy Mario Day. See you next game!